The garden shed in my backyard wasn't fancy. Just wood, nails, and a little paint. But it held my tools, my late father's workbench, and decades of memories. To me, it was priceless. To the HOA, it was a crime. They claimed it violated aesthetic standards and threatened to sue me if I didn't tear it down. What they didn't know was that I was ready to fight back, and this time, they'd be the ones standing before a judge. I'd lived in this neighborhood for nearly 20 years. My wife and I raised our kids here, and we poured love into our modest backyard. The shed had been there from the start. My father and I built it together one summer, sweating under the sun, laughing at our mistakes, and celebrating when the last nail went in. It wasn't just storage, it was a legacy. Inside, I kept his old hammer, his gardening gloves, even the jar of rusty nails he swore might still come in handy. Every time I stepped inside, it felt like he was there with me. The HOA had always been picky, but things changed when a new board president took over, a woman everyone quietly called Karen. Suddenly, neighbors got fined for mailbox colors, grass height, even wind chimes. One morning, I found a bright orange notice pinned to my shed. Unapproved structure. Remove immediately or face legal action. I stormed into the next HOA meeting, notice in hand. What's this supposed to mean? I demanded. Karen, sitting at the head of the table with her smug smile, leaned back. That shed is an eyesore. It doesn't comply with neighborhood design standards. I gritted my teeth. That shed has been here since long before your subdivision rules existed. It's not hurting anyone. Her tone turned sharp. Rules are rules. Either you take it down, or we'll take you to court. Gasps filled the room. A neighbor muttered, over a shed? Seriously? But the threats didn't stop. A week later, another letter arrived demanding $2,000 in fines. Then, another warning, failure to comply will result in legal proceedings. My wife worried constantly. What if they actually sue us? We can't afford endless lawyers. I squeezed her hand. Don't worry. If they want to fight, I'll give them one. I knew the shed's history. I still had the original county permit from when my father and I built it. The HOA might intimidate others, but not me. I started gathering evidence, photographs showing the shed had existed long before the HOA was formed, signed statements from longtime neighbors, and even property records proving it was grandfathered in. Then I called an attorney, a no-nonsense woman named Lisa who specialized in property law. I handed her the stack of documents. She flipped through them and smirked. They don't have a leg to stand on. If they push this to court, they're in for a surprise. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, a thick envelope arrived, official court papers. The HOA was suing me to force demolition of my shed plus demanding thousands in fines. Instead of panicking, I smiled. It was exactly what I wanted. The day of the hearing, the HOA board marched into the courtroom dressed like they owned the place. Karen led the charge, folder clutched to her chest, chin high with arrogance. My wife whispered nervously, "Do you think we'll win?" I patted her hand. Just wait. The judge called the case, and Karen's attorney began with a dramatic speech about community values and property uniformity. He painted my humble shed as a blight dragging down the entire neighborhood. Then Lisa stood calm, confident. She laid out our evidence. She held up the county permit. photographs from 20 years ago, and sworn affidavits from neighbors. Your Honor, she said firmly, the HOA is attempting to enforce rules retroactively. This shed predates their authority by over a decade. It is fully legal and grandfathered in. The lawsuit is not only baseless, it borders on harassment. The judge frowned, flipping through the papers. The evidence is clear. This structure is lawful. The HOA has no jurisdiction over it. Karen leapt to her feet. But it's ugly. It doesn't match the neighborhood. The judge's gavel slammed. Sit down. Court is not about personal taste. Then came the twist. Lisa leaned forward. Your Honor, given the forged notices and excessive fines, we request the HOA reimburse my client's legal fees and damages for undue stress. The judge nodded. Granted. The HOA will pay the defendant's costs. Case dismissed. The room buzzed. Karen's face turned red as the gavel fell. My shed was safe, and the HOA was ordered to pay me thousands. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt taller. For months, they tried to bully me, intimidate me, break me. But in the end, the truth won. Back at home, I unlocked the shed and ran my hand over my father's old workbench. It wasn't just wood and nails. It was a symbol of family, resilience, and standing firm when others try to tear you down. The moral was clear: bullies only win if you let them. Stand up, gather your proof, and fight back. Justice has a way of favoring those who refuse to be silenced. If this story gives you hope, don't miss the next one. I share real battles and victories against unfair HOA boards, because no one should face them alone. Hit subscribe, and join a community that believes dignity and fairness will always win in the end.